This gate remains locked. Your privileges are suspended until further notice.
That is bureaucratic overreach, and I have the documentation right here proving my good standing.
The morning I found a bright red padlock on my lake gate, the air was so cold it bit my fingers and my coffee went from steaming to ice in about 10 seconds. The metal chain clanged when I tugged it, loud in the quiet, and there was this ugly neon notice zip-tied to the fence. Past due HOA fees. Lake access revoked. Standing there on the damp grass, smelling wet dirt and gasoline from the landscaping crew, I could still see my canoe through the bars, rocking in the water like it was mocking me. I read the notice again. It said I owed $640. I had proof I was paid up through May 3, 2024. I marched to the HOA office in the clubhouse, heart pounding. Inside, the air smelled like old coffee and lemon cleaner. Behind the desk sat our board president, the one everyone secretly called gatekeeper Karen. She didn't look up when I walked in. I told her calmly that HOA padlocked my lake gate over unpaid dues, that I filed the easement, and I was here to fix the first part. She slid a stack of papers toward me with a fake sweet smile and said, "Lake access is a privilege, not a right." Then she buzzed in the next person like I was already gone. I tried to talk to the other board members in the hallway. Nobody would meet my eyes. One neighbor, Sam, muttered "I'm sorry, man," and walked off fast, like the cameras in the ceiling were watching him. That's when I realized this wasn't a mistake. This was a move. They wanted to scare me. They wanted me to pay twice just to get my gate back. My chest felt hot, my hands were shaking, but my brain snapped into this icy calm. Fine, I thought. You want rules? We'll play by the real rules. I promised myself, out loud, standing in that hallway that still smelled like burned coffee, I will use proper channels only. No yelling. No threats. Just paper and truth. At home, I cleared my kitchen table. I pulled out every letter, every email, every text from the HOA. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. Late that night, with the window open and cold air creeping in, I remembered something from when I bought the house. The old owner had pointed at the gate and said, "This path is forever." It's written in an easement. I dug through my closing box until my fingers were dry from paper dust. There it was. A survey with a shaded strip from my yard to the lake, labeled Private Pedestrian Easement. Next morning, I called the county clerk. The woman on the phone sounded bored until I said easement. Then she said, "You should come down. Bring everything." The county building smelled like toner and old paper. I spread my documents on the counter under harsh fluorescent lights. The clerk pulled the deed records, squinted at the screen, then smiled in this slow way. She hit print, and the file landed with 63 pages. It was all there, the original easement, renewal clauses, even a note that my gate could not be blocked by any association, ever. She showed me how to file a formal complaint and request enforcement. She stamped my forms with a heavy thud that felt like music. On one line I had to explain things like I was a kid. So I wrote it clear: blocking this gate breaks the easement. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I added a timeline into the complaint too. Timeline item 1, April 5 at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. That was when Karen had called security on my teenager just for watching the sunrise by the dock. Once the complaint was filed, the county took over in this slow, powerful way. A week later, I got an email with a hearing date and a little note: "Inspector will attend on site." I didn't tell the HOA. I just showed up at the next open board meeting, the one Karen ran like a queen on a throne. The room smelled like cheap cookies and cold coffee. I sat in the back with my binder on my lap. Halfway through her speech about lawn heights and approved mulch colors, there was a knock. The door opened, and in walked the county inspector in a safety vest, the clerk with her rolling briefcase, and a deputy from the sheriff's office. Phones came out so fast you'd think it was a concert. People started whispering, eyes wide. We all walked out to my lake gate together, a small crowd trailing behind. The chain still gleamed in the afternoon sun. Kids leaned on their bikes, recording everything. The inspector asked who put this lock here. Karen crossed her arms and said, "HOA policy." The clerk opened her case, pulled out the stamped easement, and held it up. Her voice was calm, but it cut like a knife. This gate is protected by a recorded easement. Any obstruction is a violation. The deputy looked right at Karen and said, "Ma'am, you need to remove this lock now." Someone in the crowd snorted. Someone else laughed. A neighbor whispered, "Oh, she's done," and the whole line of people shook with quiet giggles. When Karen's hands fumbled with the key and it dropped in the grass, 3 phones caught it at the same time. I could already see the captions online. The inspector didn't stop there. He read out loud from the record that the HOA had already filed 3 complaints against me about lake misuse that had gone nowhere. The deputy explained, in simple words, that abusing complaints can itself become a problem. You could see the board members shifting, suddenly not so loyal. Right there on the grass, in front of everyone, the inspector handed me a copy of his report and told Karen that the HOA might owe damages and fines. A couple of neighbors actually clapped. The padlock finally clanked off, and my gate swung open toward the water like it was free too. For the first time in weeks, I stepped through and felt the cool lake breeze on my face without that tight knot in my chest. In the weeks after, the videos of Lockgate, as the teenagers called it, made their rounds in our community group and beyond. Comments poured in. People from other neighborhoods shared their own HOA horror stories. At the next election, 2 new board members ran on one clear promise: no more petty power games. Karen lost her spot by 37 votes. Officially, the HOA got a warning from the county and had to cover my filing fees, which came to a little over $400. Unofficially, they got something worse: everyone now knew where the real power was, and it came with stamps and page counts, not padlocks. Now my evenings are simple again. On warm nights, the smell of grilled burgers drifts over as kids fish off the little dock behind my house. Sam comes by with his wife, and we sit by the water, our chairs in a row, talking about normal things like weather and school and how quiet it's been lately. Every time I pass that gate and see it hanging open, I remember how close I came to just paying and staying quiet. Instead, I learned that the rules can protect you if you're willing to read them and stand your ground. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.